Welcome to PCI Talk, where we keep up with the ever-changing world of communications and public relations with Public Communications Incorporated. Join us as our team of professionals bring you along on our journey with personal stories and industry insider knowledge from choosing an agency, to crisis management, and everything in between. PCI is a Chicago-based full-service communications agency serving clients that help our communities and the world in many industries, including healthcare, nonprofit, conservation, and more. Now let's talk.
Hello, and welcome to the first PCI podcast. My name is Amanda Cupido, and I'm a vice president here at PCI overseeing our nonprofit sector, which encapsulates clients in the social services field and philanthropy and government, as well as many others. And now I'd like to introduce my co-host today, Ramsey Carey.
I'm Ramsey Carey, Senior Account Executive working with Amanda in the nonprofit sector at PCI.
And we're so happy to bring you the first episode on this podcast where we will be focused on thought leadership, specifically as it relates to nonprofits. Now, thought leadership is a word that is thrown around a lot. And what does it mean to be a thought leader? You know, you think it's Seth Godin or people giving TED Talks or writing books. And I know for me, it really sparked when I took a session at the Op-Ed Project, which is a program that encourages women to write more op-eds just in life. And they asked, what are you an expert on? And I had a mini existential crisis thinking I am not an expert in anything. And that's not true. And we hear this from clients all the time when we say, oh, we want you for this media opportunity. We want you to do this. Well, that's really not me. It should really be the CEO, or it really should be this person. And just like I felt, that is not true. Everyone is an expert in something. And thought leadership just means that you are sharing that expertise with the world. So Ramsey, now that we know what thought leadership is, why is it so important, and why should nonprofit clients engage in it?
Thanks, Amanda. Yeah, so thought leadership is really important because many nonprofits exist to promote and achieve social change. So in order to do so, sharing those insights and expert perspectives is extremely valued to reaching this goal. Thought leadership in its multiple forms provides that necessary platform for helping organizations inform and educate, and most importantly, take action, which helps drives those business goals. With our current news cycle, thought leadership is more vital now more than ever because there are so many things happening in our world, and to offer a valued and unique perspective to speak on those things and be able to show why your organization is relevant and to stand out, that's really, really important right now.
Totally agree. And in COVID and with everything else going on, we're figuring this all out together. We have never experienced anything like this in our lifetimes before. So we don't feel like the expert. But at that same time, we need to figure out there's plenty that we don't know, but what do we know, and what can we share, and what can we lead on in this moment? And, here at PCI, we've helped so many different organizations figuring out their closing messages and then their reopening messages and, safety and how are they going to respond to the social justice movement. And we tell our clients, again, it's okay if you don't know everything, but we need you to lead with confidence and manage what you can control. So Ramsey, you and I spoke earlier, and we determined there's many different ways that we can approach thought leadership, but there are 5 key ways that nonprofits and other PR professionals in the nonprofit space can succeed with thought leadership. So what is that first way?
Yeah, and I think it's the most popular way, media relations. So utilizing earned media is an impactful way to succeed with thought leadership. It's a third-party acknowledgement and validation of that expertise. And it can be achieved through various methods. You can offer your leaders as resources for topics relevant to your field by issuing expert alerts. You can submit byline and op-ed articles to speak on a certain perspective. For example, we issued an expert alert for our social service clients, Cradles to Crayons, for the executive director to speak about the impact of COVID-19 on many Chicago families who unfortunately will become financially burdened by COVID-19 and the lack of those essential resources that they need to just live. And it resulted in a piece on Fox 32 that positioned Cradles to Crayons as a resource for many families and to just speak on its continued efforts to help those families combat this unfortunate reality. A second way, which kind of goes hand in hand a little bit with media relations, is utilizing digital and social platforms. Virtual platforms allow a bit more room for creative ideas to engage a wide range of audiences. and you can use media relations and push that through a virtual setting as well. But this could be done through pushing additional impactful and insightful content through blog and podcast, similar to what we're doing today with our PCI blog. And I have to say that one of the most positive outcomes of COVID-19 has been the ability to actually expand how we use our digital platforms. So we're getting a little bit more creative these days. And I think that's a really good positive outcome of being at home for the most part of the day.
Yes. And another great way to demonstrate thought leadership is by highlighting research. So we've actually had a couple of philanthropy clients who have put out reports, one related to COVID and one not, and hosted virtual events to report on these findings. So webinars or virtual press conferences. And these are great ways to engage key audiences interested in applying this research to their actual practices, and just demonstrates, again, their own expertise and positions them as authorities in the field.
And the fourth way is advocacy. Find those platforms to advocate for your cause. Once you know what your cause is, you know what you stand for. And so advocating for that is a really great way to get your perspective out there through thought leadership. Earlier this year, pre-COVID, our team had a media training for an advocacy group for our clients, the AIDS Foundation of Chicago. There was a group of advocates who believed in the cause and wanted to use their voice for change on behalf of the organization. And so we helped these advocates refine their personal stories to share in their own circles, advocate for policy changes in Springfield and elsewhere, and also through digital and media relations tactics. Another example, back to Cradles to Crayons, they hosted a webinar where they brought together experts to discuss the barriers to needs on a national scale. It was a great opportunity to raise that awareness to their mission, but to advocate for change broadly by bringing in different perspectives. And last and most importantly, the last way for thought leadership, one of the ways that we identified was take that necessary action, lead by example and just do it. This is a historic moment for a lot of organizations as accountability is at an all-time high. You've talked the talk, now it's time to walk the walk. For example, we're taking action here at PCI and formed our first diversity and inclusion task force. This is something that's been in the works for, prior to recent events, and we're holding ourselves accountable to forming a plan and executing that plan. Challenge yourself and look at your organization and take that necessary action to be part of the change you want to see in society.
Yes, taking action is the ultimate thought leadership. Love to see it. So just to recap, the 5 suggested thought leadership actions we are suggesting is 1, media relations, 2, digital and social posts and different campaigns there, 3, sharing and promoting your research, 4, advocacy efforts, and 5, just do it. 2020, we can't wait for anything. We just need to take that risk and say what we need to say. And I'll add a bonus tip. So we've been really talking on behalf of our clients at our nonprofit organization. So whether you are an individual who works in-house at a nonprofit organization, this is an opportunity to develop yourself as a PR professional or as a nonprofit worker as a thought leader yourself. So whether you're advocating for an organization, working in-house or on behalf of clients, or you're just promoting yourself as a PR professional in the field or whatever your job is, there are tons of virtual networking and professional development opportunities with conferences and even free webinars. So it's really a time to think about what you want to be known for and to start building that expertise. So even if you feel like, oh, I'm not a thought leader, that's for people in a different position from me, you can be a leader and lead at any single level. And this is the time to really take that step back and think about what is it you want to be known for. It's back to my existential crisis with that op-ed project, and just position yourself now for the future. So Ramsey, as we wrap up, are there any people who are doing thought leadership well, or any podcasts that you like to listen to where people can learn more? I know for myself, especially in PR in Chicago, I love listening to Ginny Dietrich's Spin Sucks podcast. Any other resources that you want to share?
Yeah. So I enjoy, for the last couple of months, PCC, the Publicity Club of Chicago, has been hosting a variety of webinars, although they're not podcasts. It's just been very helpful to kind of see leaders throughout the city come together and speak on a variety of topics, relevant to our field. And so I've really enjoyed that. But Also, on a personal side, I have enjoyed listening to this podcast called Therapy for Black Girls. I just started it not too long ago, but it's a really good podcast just to talk about mental health, really evaluate the things that are happening in our lives right now, and just how we can just, really just bring this into ourselves and take a moment and just breathe. Because 2020 is 2020.
Yes, that is the theme. And what we're finding, I mean, with clients, with ourselves, with managing our team members, we are managing our emotions just as much as we are managing our workday. And we need to take care of ourselves, because if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't move the work forward. Mm-hmm. So it's all holistic. It all fits in together. And yes, it's a part of thought leadership. I have decided. So that's what it is. So that will do it for our first PCI podcast. Hope you enjoyed this. We're going to be rolling out a lot more, so stay tuned. Please like and subscribe on all available channels, and please visit PCIPR.com for more, and let's talk.
Thanks for listening to PCI Talk. We'll see you next time. And in the meantime, check us out on social media for more insider information.